Hey guys, I finally got my actual camera set up that I do photography with, so I'm not using my phone today. I just wanted to do a few videos, so you're going to see me wearing the same thing for a few videos because I wanted to touch on certain subjects without it all being incorporated into one video. In case somebody's searching for a specific topic, I can help them better that way. So I've got me a little notebook that I've been keeping some notes in on things I wanted to talk about. So I wanted to talk about food obsession and addiction. So a lot of us can probably say that at some point, if not still currently, you have or have had a food obsession or addiction. And I think that's how a lot of us ended up in the situations that we're in. So I want to talk about that a little bit because I know growing up, I felt like, oh, I didn't eat a lot, but I've been big since I was probably 5, but I didn't feel like I ate a lot, but what I ate was not good. I ate a lot of, cereal. But I do remember actually getting up in the middle of the night and having a bowl of cereal when I was like 10 or 12 years old. My parents didn't know. Sneaking food into my room and eating it. Anytime we had a neighbor across the street that had a Lay's potato chip truck. He would do the routes and stuff. And he would always let the kids come over and we could pay him for some chips and stuff like that. So I'd do that. We'd go around the corner to the store and buy a bunch of candy. Excuse my loud vehicles in my neighborhood. But it's like you don't think about you ate a lot or whatever, but I know as a kid, kids eat candy, kids eat chips, kids do that thing. Maybe my metabolism had never been that awesome, which would make a little bit of sense, but still, I know I didn't eat well. And as I talked about before, I didn't exercise. I, ran around with kids outside. I played basketball on my driveway. I rode my bicycle, but I didn't play sports. I didn't run. When it came time in gym class to do that, mile, I walked it. So basically, I know that ever since I was little, there was that sugar addiction. There's always been a sugar addiction. I feel like I've never been like a bread addict, so I don't really care about breads, But I've never been a salty person either. Like I don't like to eat a bunch of pretzels and chips and things like that. It's always been sweet. And it's never really been a bunch of candy. It's usually stuff like ice cream. Ice cream, I would have to say, is my worst addiction that I had. And stuff like brownies and cake. But mostly ice cream. Honestly, in the past, I don't know how many years, I would get to the point where once a week, I'd be like, okay, it's once a week. It's fine. It's only once a week. You make an excuse. Okay, I'm just doing it just this one. I'd go to Chick-fil-A and I love their, cookies and cream milkshakes. And this may be a trigger video for you guys talking about this stuff. But I'd always go, I'd have a bad day. First thing I think about is I need a milkshake. So for years, at least once a week, most times on average once a week, I'd go get a milkshake at lunchtime. And I'd be like, oh gosh, I feel so much better because it's feeding that dopamine in your brain. You're like, yes, sugar, God. So then, honestly, now, the last couple of years, or it might be just a little over a year actually, I got to the point where I would go to Sonic and I would get the blizzards that they have, or whatever you want to call them, with like Reese cups in them, Oreos in them. And I did that same excuse. It's only once a week. It's only once a week. And people at the job that I've been at for the last year, they'd see me go out once a week and come back with a big Sonic, ice cream. Oh, that looks good. Oh, that looks good. Like, it got to the point where I started feeling bad because they're noticing me coming in. Excuse me. My cat is like hacking up a freaking hairball in the kitchen right now. It's great. So I'm going to try to talk loud enough so maybe you won't hear him. Hairball, are you done, Jinx? Thanks. What else saying? Okay. I got to the point where I started feeling really bad because I was coming in to work with this. They were noticing I'm bringing it in. I'm like, yeah, I know I'm a big girl. I'm coming in with this ice cream. They're probably thinking, that's your whole problem. You know, I can imagine just this. I've always been like obsessive compulsive thinker, constantly thinking about stuff, constantly thinking, oh my God, what does this person think about me? You know, I have this I don't give attitude, but at the same time, it's in my head, like, I know they think that's why you're fat. You know? And I feel like that was starting to, you know, play in my head every time I went to go get one. And just recently I got to the point before I started doing the keto low carb stuff, this was 3 weeks ago now. I was slowing down to the point where I didn't do it every week. But that last week when I said, okay, this weekend I'm getting the groceries for the low carb stuff, I'm cutting all this sugar out and everything, I'm gonna go get me one last ice cream. I had to go get me one last ice cream. So it's like, what am I gonna eat next time? You know, what am I gonna eat for dinner? What's for breakfast tomorrow? What's constantly thinking and obsessing about my next meal. And I know a lot of people can probably relate to that. And honestly, I still have that obsessive mindset when it comes to thinking about my next meal. But now I think I'm actually grateful for that because I have better foods to look forward to. So it keeps me searching for recipes and more ideas and better things to eat and, you know, different ways to incorporate this better way of eating into my life. And now we have birds. Nature, hello. It's been like freaking cold, really cold everywhere. You know, we're in Tennessee, so it's been pretty cold. And then all of a sudden it's like almost 60 degrees outside. So everybody and all the animals are freaking out. So, but it's still there. That obsessive compulsive is still there. But I feel like now it's in a good way because it's like, okay, I have to eat this. What I was eating was poison. I put that thought in my head. Gosh, birds, please. I just want to talk to these people. We have a bird feeder out front, so that probably doesn't help. My husband just loaded it up with bird seed yesterday. So, I keep telling myself, okay, this stuff that I was eating was terrible for me. I'm looking at this as I'm feeding myself poison. It is slowly killing me. And if I want to live a longer life, I can't do any more of that poison. It's done. So I continuously think about, okay, what's a new and exciting way I can make stuff with hamburger or whatever next week? So that's one of the main things I wanted to talk about was the obsessive compulsive addiction. Even on low carb and keto, we still obsess about those things. I don't eat unless I'm hungry. And the great thing about this way of eating is you're not really hungry for snacks. You're not hungry in between meals. And middle of this week, I actually started doing the intermittent fasting because I wasn't really hungry at breakfast. So I'm like, it's easy. I'm not really hungry at breakfast anymore. I'm just eating because I'm like, okay, it's breakfast time. Time to eat. Okay, it's lunchtime. You know, you can't go by, oh, okay, it's 12 o'clock, it's time for lunch. It's 6 o'clock, it's time for dinner. You have to go by what your body says. And I've learned, and a lot of people have said the same thing, I've learned to tune into how my body is and what my body wants as far as food. And before I even eat anything, unless it is close to a mealtime and I know, you know, hunger, I will drink water first. And then a lot of times you feel like you're hungry, you're actually thirsty. So, with sweets, I think I just spit on myself. With sweets, there's, you know, the imitation sugar substitutes and things like that where we can make sweets. I made some peanut butter cookies a week ago and they were great. My husband loved them. I loved them. So I would have like one. And I'm thinking about later making a keto friendly, low carb chocolate chip cookie. So I'm like, okay, I'll make some cookies later and that'll be good. But see, you can't just sit there and do like you used to do and feed your face with 5 or 6 cookies at one time. So if in the beginning you feel like making those good for you treats could be an issue, could cause you to overeat, to be a trigger for you, then don't do it. Wait until you've been on it for a while and your body's adjusted and you don't want that stuff much anymore. Because there are some people that will sit there even though they're good for you and eat them all. And if that's an issue, then just you're better off not to even make anything like that right now. So that was my main 2 things for this video was food obsession and addiction, limiting yourself on imitation sweets, and don't eat unless you're hungry.